welcome back to another video right here on the F1 Journal, and today we are reviewing the 2020 Hungarian Grand Prix where Hamilton wins to take the title lead and Max Verstappen finished second despite a crash. Record equalling 8th win in Hungary sees Hamilton take 2020 championship lead from Bottas. Verstappen and Red Bull miraculously finished second despite pre-race crash in wet, and Ferrari lapped despite finishing 6th are the key headlines. Dominant Lewis Hamilton seized the lead of the F1 World Championship for the first time in the 2020 season, with his second win in a row and a record-equalling 8th win on the same circuit at the Hungaroring. But Max Verstappen remarkably denied Mercedes of another 1-2 finish after holding off Valtteri Bottas for second place, despite crashing and breaking his Red Bull's car's front wing in wet conditions on the way to the grid. Verstappen's afternoon had appeared over before it even begun when he lost control on his way to the grid to intermediate tyres and slid into a hefty nose first impact with the turn 12 barriers. Yet a frenzied and heroic effort from his Red Bull mechanics on the grid ensured his repaired car made the start, and Verstappen then paid them back by surging from 7th to 3rd off the line as Bottas lost crucial ground on the line. However, Lewis Hamilton was in a league of his own up front all afternoon and could even afford a late stop for fresh tyres and take the bonus point for fastest lap, which he duly secured on the final tour of the maximum 26 points. Hamilton's 86 career wins means he leads Valtteri Bottas in the standings by 5 points heading into the British Grand Prix in 2 weeks. Yet another win at the Hungaroring also ties Michael Schumacher's record of 8 wins at one venue. Round 1 had multiple different punches that I wasn't perhaps ready for, but I refocused and the last 2 have been fantastic, said Hamilton. This weekend we've just been on point throughout, so we need to try and keep this up. Although the podium was out of reach for Racing Point, Lance Stroll still capped an impressive weekend with a commanding 4th place, his best result since joining the team last year. After a torrid Saturday when he dropped out in Q2, Alex Albon raced strongly from 13th in the second Red Bull and overtook Ferrari Sebastian Vettel for 5th late on. However, Red Bull were under investigation with Albon's car for allegedly drying the RB16's grid box before the race. However, no further action will be taken. Vettel was the only Ferrari to score points with Leclerc down in 11th, and he was lapped by old rival Hamilton to underline the mountain that the Scuderia have to climb to get back into contention this year. Sergio Perez was 7th in the second Racing Point after a poor start, with Daniel Ricciardo 8th for Renault. Kevin Magnussen meanwhile opened Haas points account for 2020 with an opportunistic drive to the points after the team cleverly pitted both their cars at the end of the formation lap for dry tyres and jumped up the order when others did likewise several laps later. However, after finishing 9th, he was handed a 10-second time penalty after the race, and the stewards deemed that when pitting Magnussen, Haas had illegally used driver aids that dropped him a place in the final result. McLaren, meanwhile, had a more difficult afternoon compared to Austria, with Carlos Sainz collecting their only point in 10th, courtesy of a late pass on a struggling Charles Leclerc. On a weekend totally dominated by Mercedes, and after a tough enough qualifying session with a mishandling car which left them down on the grid, Verstappen's chances of splitting Hamilton and Bottas appeared remote from 7th on the grid, irrespective of the changeable race day conditions he usually thrives in. But any chance had appeared gone when Verstappen committed one of F1's cardinal sins, crashing before the race had ever even started, or so it seemed. After assessing the extent of the damage and the repair work required after Verstappen had damaged to drag the RB16 to the grid, Red Bull mechanics set about getting back into a state to race. It was not how I wanted in the beginning, of course, ending up in the barriers, a bit of lack of grip, but the mechanics did an amazing job to fix the car, said Verstappen. I don't know how they made it. Incredible. Everything was working as normal. To pay them back for the second place, I'm very pleased with that. After his stellar getaway put him second to Hamilton and Stroll at the end of lap 1, Verstappen got ahead of the Racing Point when he went 1 lap longer on his intermediate tyres and the 2 stopped for dries at the end of lap 3. But any chance of catching Hamilton, who had opened a massive 3.1 second lead on lap 1 alone, was quickly put to bed as the Mercedes simply streaked away up front. Bottas, meanwhile, had dropped 7th after a problematic getaway from the front row. The Finns' Mercedes rolled forwards fractionally just before the start, before stopping, and he lost momentum when the lights went out for real. Stewards deemed that no investigation over jump start was required, with Bottas free to focus on a fight back through the field. It was a pretty bad race start from me, to be honest. Starting second, obviously, we aimed to win the race, admitted Bottas, but I lost it from the start. I reacted on a light on my dash that went off. I didn't know what it was. From 6th at the end of the opening lap, Bottas fought back diligently and was back into the podium positions by lap 36 when he overtook Lance Stroll. From there, the Finn started to chase down Verstappen for second place, with Mercedes setting up a late assault on the Red Bull with a third stop for dry tyres in the closing stages. However, despite lapping considerably faster than his Dutch rival into the closing lap, Bottas came up 0.8 seconds short of the flag and had to settle for third. Finally, here is the official classification. Lewis Hamilton taking a dominant victory, followed by Max Verstappen, who had a remarkable drive. Bottas probably will be disappointed. Stroll and Albon will be very happy with their performances, as was Sebastian Vettel. Perez got a shocking start, so I imagine he'll be disappointed. Danny Rick, probably quite happy. Magnussen, yeah, he'll be definitely delighted after Haas's genius start. Sainz and Leclerc, maybe not too happy. Norris, neither. And then Williams dropped back. The Alfa Romeos were down there as well. So not really a lot to write home about the rest of those, just the usual suspects outside of the points. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And remember to follow me on Twitter for F1 news. And remember to subscribe to my other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.